Hi, it's Sean, and you're listening to The 3-Month Vacation. New Zealanders are obsessed with the coffee that they drink. Yes, you get bad coffee like everywhere else, but on average, the coffee is of a very high standard, which means that if you're going to open a cafe, you're running into a lot of competition. Competition that already exists. Those competitors have clients, and you have to entice those clients to your business, to your new business. How do you get your business off the ground when you're just starting out? Today's story is about one such cafe. It opened 2 years ago, and almost nobody had walked through the door for the first month. This depressing mood carried on through the second, third, and fourth months. When you have no customers, you have no reviews online, but you're paying for water, utility bills, and rent. You'd have to ask, why does the cafe owner show up at all? The most straightforward answer is that they signed a 5-year lease. When you read about cafes and restaurants, you find 17% of them go out of business in the first year. By the second year, that number has catapulted to 61%. However, this statistic suggests that 39% of the businesses, they still remain. When you consider that the failure rate is exceptionally high, a 5-year lease seems like a noose around your neck. But for those who change their strategy, who get help or training, it's a matter of riding the rough times out until things change for the better. As business owners, we too have a similar challenge. Let's say you start up a podcast. When will the podcast come to a stop? Based on current statistics, most businesses record around 11 podcasts, and then it's all over. Why? It's because nobody is listening. Nobody's showing up. Maybe you have just 15 downloads per podcast. It doesn't seem worth the trouble to think of a topic, script it, record it, edit it, and then there are production costs, music, all of these extra expenses. Why would you show up for just 15 people? The reality is, you should. Take, for example, what we at Psychotactics had to do when we first launched the book, The Brain Audit. The internet was relatively young in those days, and most sales were usually offline. It meant that we had to get in a car and get to a venue. Sometimes that destination would be just a few minutes away. But at other times, we'd have to drive for hours. One time, we had to go 226 kilometers, and the event was starting at 7 a.m., which means that we had to wake up at 4 a.m. to make it to the venue. When we got to the location, it was bolted shut. Then, minutes before the event, 3 people showed up. Have you tried presenting to 3 people? What is your success rate if they all buy a copy of your book? Worse still, what do you do if none of them buy a copy? You do what a person with a 5-year lease does. You figure out how to move ahead, or you simply fold over and give up. Business owners usually tackle this problem by saying they have a shiny object syndrome. Shiny object syndrome is when you're distracted by the next new thing. But it's an excuse. Every one of us wants a quick win. Who wants to show up and have 15 people on a podcast? Or worse, 3 people at an event? We like to have victories. We like to have novelty. But some of us, we have a 5-year lease. At times, this lease might be for a single product or service. However, this problem compounds when you have many products and services because they all need to be maintained. They all have 5-year leases. Psychotactics has different products, services, workshops, podcasts, and a membership site at 5000 BC. As you can tell, it's a lot to manage. The membership site has been going for 21 years. The podcast has been around for over 10 years. Newsletters have been diligently sent out since 2000. This is not a boast, it's a lease. We took the lease and now we have to ensure that it works. If it's not working, we need to change our strategy. We need to get new training or coaching. We can't just throw up our hands and hope for some magical solution. As you probably know, we've launched a book. It's on Amazon. It's called Suddenly Talented. And that is a 5-year lease as well. How do we promote the book? Which podcasts do we get on? Which interviews do we do? How do we promote it locally? These are just some of the questions that we have to ask. And it doesn't stop with questions, because after that, you have to implement. You have to make sure everything rolls out, not always in the way that you'd expect. But at least it's a lot better than making excuses or doing nothing or folding up. Because if you just fold up, then all of the effort and time you've put to creating that product or service, that'll amount to nothing. We have to believe somehow that we have a 5-year lease in place, and it's going to be a journey. The 5-year lease can be seen as both a negative or a positive. What's your 5-year lease? And this brings us to the end of the podcast. Let's find out what's happening in Psychotactics land. As I said, we've just launched a book and it's called Suddenly Talented. It's the story of why some people get more talented than others and what's behind all of that and how you can improve your chances of learning, of getting more talented in more than one area. So it's available on our website, but you can get a physical copy and read it on paper, which is a whole different experience, which is why it's on Amazon. And this is true especially if you've got 700 books that you haven't read on Kindle, or they're just lying around on your tablet. This is a paper book. So go to Amazon.com, look for Suddenly Talented, and get a few copies for yourself, not because you're going to read more than one copy, but you can gift them. You can gift them to people in your family, kids that are hanging around your place, and yes, to clients. One of our clients bought 10 copies for his clients. And yes, I know this is a promotion for us, but you'll find that it's a really good gift and it benefits us, it benefits you, and it benefits your client. So that's it. It's called Suddenly Talented. I'll say bye for now. Bye-bye, and we'll see you in 5000 BC.